Tam O Shanter, a tale, full of brownies and of bogles is this book. When chapman billies leave the street and drouthy neighbours meet, as market days are wearing late and folk begin to tack the gate, while we sit boozing at the nappy and growing fou and anka happy, we think na the lang Scots miles, the mosses, waters, slaps and stiles that lie between us on our hame, where sits our sulky sullen dame, gathering her brews like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. This truth found honest Tam O Shanter, as he ae nechfe edit canter, all there whom ne'er a tune surpasses, for honest men and bonny lasses. Ah, Tam, had thou but been so wise as ta'en thy ain wife Kate's advice, she told thee weel thou wast a skellum, a blethering, blustering, drunken blellum that frae November till October, a market day that wasna sober, that ilka melder with the miller as sat as long as thou had siller, that every nag was caught a shoe on, the smith and thee got roaring fou on, that at the Lord's house, e'en on Sunday, they drank with Kirkton Jean till Monday. She prophesied that later soon thou would be found deep drooned in Doon, or catched with warlocks in the murk by Alloway's alt-haunted kirk. Ah, gentle dames, it gars me greet to think who mony counsel sweet, who many length and sage advices the husband frae the wife despises. But to our tale, a market necht Tam got planted uncorrect, fast by a ingle blazing finely with reaming swats that drank divinely, and at his elbow Suitor Johnny, his ancient, trusty, drouthy crony. Tam looed him like a very brother. They had been fou for weeks together. The night drave on with sangs and clatter, and aye the ale was growing better. The landlady and Tam grew gracious, with secret favours sweet and precious. The suitor told his queerest stories, the landlord's laugh was ready chorus. The storm without might rear and rustle, Tam didn't mind the storm a whistle. Care, mad to see a man sae happy, e'en drooned himself among the nappy. As bees flee hame with lades of treasure, the minutes winged their way with pleasure. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious, or all the ills of life victorious. But pleasures are like poppies said, you see the flower its bloom is shed, or like the snow falls in the river, a moment white and gone forever, or like the borealis race that flit ere ye can point their place, or like the rainbow's lovely form, vanishing amid the storm. Nay, man can tether time nor tide, the hour approaches, Tam mun ride. That hour, a night's black arch the keystone, that dreary hour he mounts his beast in, and sic a neck to tuck the road in, as ne'er poor sinner was abroad in. The wind blew as 'twould blow its last, the rattling showers rose on the blast, the speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, loud, deep and lang the thunder bellowed. That necht a child might understand, the deil had business on his hand. Weel mounted on his good mare Meg, a better never lifted leg, Tam skelped on through dub and mire, despising wind and rain and fire. Was hodding fast his goodby blonnet, whilst crooning our some old Scots sonnet, whilst glancing round with prudent care, lest bogles catch him unaware. Kirk Alloway was drawing nigh, where geists and hoolits nightly cry. By this time he was crossed the ford, where in the snow the chapman smored, and past the birks and Micklestane, where drunken Charlie Bracksneck bane, and through the whins and by the cairn, where hunters found the murdered bairn, and near the thorn abeen the well, where Munger's mother hanged herself. Before him Doon pours all his floods, the doubling storm roars through the woods, the lightnings flash from pole to plough, near and more near the thunders roll, when, glimmering through the groaning trees, Kirk Alloway seemed in a bleeze. Through ilka bore the gleams were glancing, and loud resounded mirth and dancing. Inspiring Bull John Barleycorn, what dangers thou can make us scorn. We Tippany will fear nae evil. We Usquaby will face the devil. The Swats say reamed in Tammy's noddle, fair play he cared na deals a bottle. But Maggie stood, recht sair astonished, till by the heel and hand admonished she ventured forward on the licht. And wow, Tam saw an unketh sick. Witches and warlocks in a dance, nae cotillon brent you frae France, but hornpipes, jigs, strathays and reels put life and metal in their heels. A winnock bunker in the east, there sat old Nick in shape of beast, a towsy tyke, black, grim and large, to gie them music was his charge. He screwed the pipes and gart them skirl, till roof and rafters all did dull. Coffins stood round like open presses, and showed the dead in their last dresses, and by some devilish cantrip sleight, each in its cauld hand held a light, by which heroic Tam was able to note upon the haly table a murderer's banes and gibbet ends, 'twar span long wee unchristened bairns. A thief new cutted from a rape, with his last gasp his gab did gape. 5 tomahawks with blood red rusted, 5 scimitars with murder crusted, a garter that a babe had strangled, a knife a father's throat had mangled, whom his ain son the life bereft, the grey hairs still stuck to the heft. One mair a horrible and awful, that e'en to name would be unlawful. As Tammy stared amazed and curious, the mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew, the dancers fast and faster flew. They reeled, they set, they crossed, they cleekit, till ilka carlin swat and reekit, and cast her duddies to the work, and linkit at it in her sack. Now, Tam, had they been queens, all plump and strapping in their teens, their sacks, instead of creasy flannen, been snow-white 1700 linen. These breeks of mine, my ainly pair, that ain't so blush, the plush of good blue hair, I would have gained them off my hurdies, for a blink of the bonny birdies. But withered beldams, auld and droll, ringwoody habs would speen a foal, louping and flinging on a crummock, I wonder didn't he turn thy stomach. But Tam Kent fit was foot through brawly, there was a winsome wench in Whalley that night enlisted in the corps. Long after Kent on Carrick shore, for many a beast to dead she shot, and perished mony a bonny boat, and shook both mickle corn and beer, and kept the countryside in fear. Her cutty sark of Paisley Harn, that is a lassie she had worn, in longitude, though sairly scanty, it was her best, and she was wanty. Ah, little wist her reverend granny, the sark she coughed for her wee nanny, with 12 pund Scots, 'twas all her riches, would ever grace a dance of witches. But here my muse her wingman cour, sich flichts a far beyond my poor, to sing how nanny lap and flag. A supple jade she was, and strang, and how Tammy stared like een bewitched, and thought his very een enriched. E'en Satan glowered and fidged fu fain, and hocht and blew with might and main, till first, keeper, sign another, Tam tent his reason all together, and roars out, "Weel done, Cutty Sark!" In an instant all was dark, and scarcely had Maggie rallied, when out the hellish legion sallied, as bees biz out with angry fyke, when plundering herds assail their dyke, as open pussies mortal foes, when pop she starts before their nose, as eager runs the market crowd, when catch the thief resounds aloud, so Maggie rins, the witches follow, with mony an eldritch shriek and hollow. Now Tam, they'll get thy faring, in hell they'll roast thee like a herring. In vain thy Kate awaits thy coming. Soon Kate will be a woeful woman. Now do thy speedy utmost beg, and win the keystone of the brink. There thou at them thy tail may toss, a running stream they dorn across. But ere the keystone she could make, the faint a tail she had to shake, for Nanny, far abeen the rest, hard upon noble Maggie pressed, and flew at Tam with furious ettle, but little wist she Maggie's mettle. Spring brocht off her master hale, but left behind her ain grey tail. The Colin crocht her by the rump, and left poor Maggie scarce a stump. Now while this tale of truth may read, ilk man and mother's son, tak heed. Whene'er to drink you are inclined, and Cutty Sarks run in your mind, think, you may buy the joys our dear. Remember Tam O Shanter's beer.